Hello, welcome back to me YouTube channels, and this is going to be what if Naruto kept the School of Sealing final parts. Now before we get into it, I think I'm gonna have to explain my absence. I don't have a valid reason. I didn't want to. Didn't want to, and I didn't really feel like continuing to write the story. But what made me decide to finish both is like I typically hate it when there's I usually hate it when there's like this good anime what if and then it just ends out of nowhere, and I don't want to do that. So yeah. Also it's kind of gone to interest me again, and if this finale seems kind of worst, I apologize, cause in some way it was, since yesterday I was trying to get through all of this in one day so I can start writing on Rouge Puppet Master today. So yeah, this will be the final part of What If Naruto Kept the School of Sealing. Um, expect a movie with all the parts in it to come out soon. And since I don't know how to edit, really, I'm not gonna put all the parts I've made together. I'm just gonna read all of it. Yeah. And, yeah. Don't think there's anything else to say. Oh, if you hear anything in the background, I apologize. Either my mic acting weird or my family. And besides that, yeah, let's just get on into it. What if Naruto kept the School of Sealing? Chapter 6, the tuning exams, Part 3, the preliminary rounds. Team 7 were the first ones to get to the tower. 5 minutes later, Gawa and his team came back. Gawa was slightly less unhinged, but even though he loosened to press the seal even more, the seal Gawa had wasn't even that great in the first place. The seal Gawa had was like an advanced seal you keep weapons in, not a tailed beast. So even though it was slightly better, it still didn't make that much of a noticeable difference. After a day or two, everyone came back, and a week after that, the preliminary round started. Since Sasuke and Naruto had gotten rid of the Sound Trio, Naruto would be fighting Sino for the first match, Shikamaru for the second match, and Choji for the last match. Sasuke would be going up against only Kiba. And that's what happened. For the first match, it was Sasuke versus Kiba instead of Moroi, since Kabuto's entire team dropped out. When the match began, Sasuke made 10 clones of himself. Half were real style clones while the other half were illusionary clones. Kiba couldn't tell which was real and fake, since all the Sasukes had the same sun, and they were all sending real fireballs as well. Kiba was trying his best to dodge and keep Akamaru safe as well, and then Akamaru turned into a clone of Kiba. Then both of them threw out smoke bombs, distracting Sasuke, but he then heard a slight fizzing, and he instinctively jumped up and dodged a fang over fang from Kiba. Taking the last few seconds of Kiba being in spiral, Sasuke had the 5 clones that jumped up with him send massive fireballs out to the original Sasuke, but then Sasuke had somehow absorbed the chakra from coming out of him through his mouth, and then thought in his mind, fire style, massive dragon flame jutsu. Editor's note, so Sasuke even had a chance to consider himself a rival of this Naruto. He created a jutsu that allowed him to absorb fire jutsu that's thrown at him, and release it back with 3 to 8 times the force. So think of Naruto eating fire. The massive fire in the form of a dragon had hit Kiba and Akamaru head on. They had no way of defending against it, and they only got burned. Sasuke then used a water jutsu that took out the flame. Sasuke had clearly won, while Kiba and Akamaru lost to the medics. And then every fight after that happened as canon, until it was Naruto's turn. It was going to be Naruto vs. Sino, but Naruto asked the proctor who else he had to fight, and Hayate then said that he had to fight Shikamaru Nara and Toji Akimichi as well. Naruto then asked if he could just fight all of them at once. Everyone was understandably shocked, but the proctor said that it'd be fine if the others were to consent to it. They did, but none of them, not even Sino, went down there. They all said that they gave up. The reason of this was because they were hiding in the background while Team 7 was fighting the Sound Trio. And they all saw the very powerful sphere of purple and blue that Dosu got hit with. After Naruto left to go to the tower, they all went to see the aftermath of Dosu's body. But it now had a massive hole in it reaching all the way to his neck before stopping. And with that, Naruto had moved on to the final round of the exams without even using chakra. And every other fight went as canon, and now it's time for the 1-month training period. Naruto went to the hot springs to take a nice bath and figure out how to control all the sage modes at once, but he just couldn't do it. No matter how hard he tried, Naruto was only capable of using one sage mode at a time. So instead of using it all at once, he tried to control his cursed sage mode. But that's when he got distracted from the sound of an old man laughing. Naruto got out of the relaxing hot water to give that man a piece of his mind. Naruto followed the sound of the giggling until he found someone in a wet coat and with long white spiky hair. Naruto then yelled, "Hey old man, can you stop giggling so loudly? It's so annoying to hear, and stop picking on the people in there, you perverts." Okay. All the women in the hot springs screamed and ran out of the springs. The old man then started yelling about how his resort was ruined. He then went up to Naruto and asked what he thought he was doing. Naruto then explained what he was trying to do before he was interrupted. The man was severely shocked that this kid even knew what senjutsu was, let alone could perform two of them, and a newly found cursed senjutsu. Excuse me. The man then informed Naruto that he was Jiraiya, the great Toad Sanin. Jiraiya then told Naruto that he could help him control his senjutsu. Naruto accepted immediately since he wanted to control his power. Naruto then made a contract with Toads and could summon Gamabunta on the first try. And by the end of the month, Naruto had mastered Toad Sage Mode as well as Hashirama's. And as for his cursed Sage Mode, he didn't have it. Instead of having a third Sage Mode, as he mastered both Sage Modes, his cursed Sage Mode kind of split in two and amplified his already powerful Sage Modes by 6 times. And now it's time for the final round of the exams. Chapter 7, the Tuning Exams, Part 4, the final rounds. Sasuke made it on time in this one and had to fight Temari. Naruto would have to fight Gaara and Neji. And now it's Sasuke versus Temari. As the fight started, Sasuke made three clones, and they all went through a flurry of hand surge and thought, "Fire style, massive dragon flame, choo-choo!" And now 15 massive flames in the form of dragons went at Temari, with 5 coming out of each Sasuke's mouth. Temari only had wind jutsu and couldn't do anything but hide behind a tree. That did nothing, and the tree had melted to nothing from a mere touch of the flame's heat. And the entire arena was burnt to a crisp. After the flames went out, Sasuke couldn't see Temari, but just as Hayate was going to declare Sasuke the winner, Temari appeared behind Sasuke and swung her fan with her maximum force. Temari was somehow only barely burned from the fire, as if it was being sucked, but Temari suddenly heard a type of sucking noise. Then she realized that he was sucking up her wind like he did with the fire in the preliminaries. Sasuke was able to learn over the 1 month period how to absorb elements that complement fire as well. So, which meant he mastered Rock Lee speed, learned how to absorb wind and lightning chakra in 1 month. Sasuke then points to the wall. Tomoe looks to that same wall as he sees another Sasuke with lightning in his hand. Sasuke then tapped Tomoe's arm so she could look back at where he aimed his fire, and she saw yet again another Sasuke that was still absorbing the flames, and Tomoe was frozen in shock, realization, and then fear as the original Sasuke had jumped up into the air as all the Sasuke shouted their attacks. Fire Style Massive Dragon Flame Jutsu! Wind Style Massive Breakthrough! Lightning Style Chidori 2 Spear! Combination Jutsu Massive Flame Vortex! Before Tomoe knew it, she was in the middle of a vortex of fire, wind, and lightning. She couldn't go anywhere since all her ways to escape were cut off. She quickly slammed the ground with her fan and went into the ground, blocking the flame. Once the vortex was gone, everyone in the audience saw nothing. Not Tomoe, not even Sasuke. They only saw the mere destruction Sasuke had caused. Out of the ground, but all of a sudden they saw that Sasuke had come out of the ground with Tomoe in front of him, with her head up and Sasuke's fist out of chin. Sasuke had gone underground as he saw Tomoe do that to avoid the vortex. Excuse me. Sorry about that. The second Tomoe went underground, she got shocked from the lightning Sasuke had put in the ground, and Sasuke underground had absorbed the vortex into his fist underground. I am saying underground a lot. And Sasuke had absorbed the vortex into his fist and had uppercut her while she was getting fried. He successfully connected his fist with her chin and said, "Ninja Art Massive Flame Vortex Fist!" as he punched her out of the ground. There was a brief second of silence before the crowd erupted into tears. Tomoe was lucky that Sasuke wasn't trying, because if he was, she'd be dead from the glance, figuratively and literally. And now it's time for Naruto to face off against Neji. When they both got to the ring, Neji was going on about how it was destiny this and destiny that. Naruto got so annoyed that before Hayate could even begin the match, Naruto used wood binding and had spikes come from the wood pointing at Neji's throat just by looking at him. The wood was so tight that Neji could barely move his fingers, let alone his whole body for rotation. Now, what's Destiny going to do against that? Naruto asked. Neji was understandably pissed. Like, I come out here to fight you and you immobilize me in the first 2 seconds? Not cool. But he couldn't do anything about it. Naruto gives the same talk no jutsu to Neji, the most OP jutsu in all of Naruto. Neji had no choice but to give up. I mean, if I was talking no jutsu like that, I'd probably give up as well. Everyone in the crowd was mad because an epic fight was finished before it even began. Okay, everyone in the crowd was mad because an epic fight was finished before it even began. There we go. Okay, my goodness. But they quickly got over it as they were to realize that the next fight was Naruto vs Sasuke. Neji returned to the stands and Sasuke came back to the arena even though he didn't even get to go all the way up before he was caught again. Like, I just finished my fight and I didn't even get to relax before I have to fight again? Come on, man. And, hang on. Excuse me, I was taking a sip of water. Stay hydrated. Anyway, and now it's time for Naruto vs Sasuke. Hayate begins the match as he jumps away. Naruto quickly went into a hand seals as a wood clone came out and did some hand seals as well. Wood style, wood dragon jutsu, both Naruto said as the dragons went towards Sasuke, speed blitzing him. They wrapped around Sasuke and were tightening by the second while absorbing his chakra as well. And both Naruto said at the same time, wood style, deep forest emergence, and fire style, great fire annihilation. As Naruto had started a wild forest fire with the target being Sasuke. But as Naruto had expected, Sasuke started absorbing the fire. But when he started absorbing it, he had noticed that the fire was off. He didn't know how to explain it, but the fire didn't feel like fire. And Sasuke had realized that the fire was actually masked as fire, but it was really water chakra. What I mean by this is Naruto did use somehow managed to use a fire jutsu, but with water chakra instead. Like I don't know, he used water style water dragon jutsu, but he made the water dragon look like it was what's it called, a fury of fire. That's what it's called. Okay. So in simpler terms, Naruto had to somehow find a way to make fire jutsu seem as water jutsu, and vice versa, and the same for every other element. Except wood. He could only do this with the 5 basic chakra natures. Sasuke realized that absorbing it was pointless, and that it was actually giving him less chakra than giving him more. But as he was being bound and sucked from his energy, he could barely move around. Naruto then teleported behind Sasuke and used wind-style gear palm that was like a massive gust of wind. Sasuke got hit from the back, not like that, which meant that he couldn't absorb it. Sasuke had cuts and bruises everywhere, and by the time he got back to the ground, he could barely stand. Naruto then karate chopped the air, or so it seemed. In actuality, Naruto had teleported his hands to Sasuke's neck and hit it. He had mastered the flying lightning to the extent to where he could teleport individual body parts, and like that, Sasuke was on the ground. The crowd was silent once more before it erupted into tears twice as loud from Sasuke versus Temari. Sasuke was sent to the medics while Naruto stayed in the arena, knowing that this would be his last match. Gaara then came down and hired to begin the match before jumping away as far as he could. Before Gaara could even blink, Naruto had implanted his fist deep into Gaara's stomach. Gaara had then passed out on the ground as he had finally passed out from the ground, causing him to sleep for the first time since he was born. Before Sukaku, the one-tailed beast, had awoken, Naruto had summoned the ball of wood, which confused everyone. Naruto had then released the ball to show everyone that a dead Orochimaru had fallen out. The wood had sucked Orochimaru dry of his chakra, killing him forever. Everyone was surprised and disgusted, but the sand and sound Newbie were even more shocked. And before they could even process what had happened, they started falling, feeling tired, and then they realized that they had been put under a sleeping genjutsu. And before they had even dropped to the ground, they were teleported to a prison. Naruto had then telepathically told the shinobi what had happened and then explained it to the civilians, but in a more gentle tone. Naruto then informed everyone at the same time that he was going to teleport himself and Gaara away from the village since Sukaku could come out at any moment. And as he said that, Gaara had a huge puff of smoke come out of his body. Everyone had then seen Sukaku in the flesh. Naruto then teleported the beast far away from the village along with himself. Naruto still kept up the transmission, but with a visual image. Naruto wanted everyone to see this epic showdown. Naruto had transformed into a wood golem the same size as Sukaku. He quickly blitzed it and uppercutted Sukaku's chin, throwing him extremely high into the sky. And then, from the wood that was placed on the beast, 2 more wood golems came out with their hands raised, and they both said, "Sage Art, Massive Rotten Shuriken!" One had the Toad Sage mode on, and the other had Hashirama Sage mode on. This definitely woke Gaara up. The Rasen Shurikens were held back enough so neither Gaara or Sukaku died. Naruto had also put the 8 trigram seal on both of the shurikens, and that successfully strengthened the seal on Gaara. Excuse me. Naruto then released his golems and caught Gaara. This time the entire village sealed. Naruto had accidentally sent the transmission to everyone in the village, catching them up on the situation as well. And just like that, the tuning exams end with Sasuke receiving tuning, Naruto receiving joining at 12, and Naruto receiving joining at 12. A year before Kakashi had, making him the youngest joining ever. And he wasn't still alive, the invasion never began, and the Akatsuki, having a spy watch the entire event, had decided that they were going to attack as soon as possible. Chapter 8, The Final Challenge. 1 week after the exams, Naruto was eating ramen when he suddenly felt 10 massively strong people behind him. And he said, "Why don't we take this somewhere else?" He said that as if it was a question, but before anyone could reply, they were all teleported 500,000 miles away from the village. They were still in the land of fire, but they were far away enough from people to not have anyone get hurt. The second they got there, Sasuke's Hiroko cell was sliced open. Zetsu had the green plant thing on his head in half, and Itachi had one of his eyes cut. They were all shocked and went all out. Sasuke removed his cloak, showing his puppet body, and brought out his 100 puppets. Kakazu had his hearts come out. Deidara was on a C2 dragon. Konan had her wings out. Pain had all his paths out. Itachi had his Susanoo out, and Toby became serious. But this was all futile, as Naruto had made a wood golem to its full size and summoned the Gamabunta. Naruto had his wood golem lift his hand, and in his hand there was wood chakra and senjutsu in it. Naruto had Gamabunta add oil and water chakra to it. Naruto was also adding all the jutsu he learned from the scroll to the ball. He had shadows, fire, water, earth, wind, lightning, wood. It became more dark by the second. Everything around it was getting dark. Senjutsu, oil, Kurama's chakra, and it was so powerful that anyone near it would have insane migraines, limiting their movements. And the Akatsuki tried to stop this, but each attack they threw at him just strengthened it more. And Naruto had all of these effects contained in an ever-expanding Wasen Shuriken. So the Akatsuki couldn't get away. Naruto had created a wood barrier that allowed none of them to leave. And he then finished his jutsu, which was called Sealing Scroll Art, ever-expanding Wasen Shuriken. He said this with a calm voice, not worried by anything. Before the golem could throw it, it got absorbed by the shuriken in it, and it became double the size. And now all the Akatsuki could see is Naruto holding that massive ball with his left pinky finger. And with a flick of the wrist, look at the flick of the wrist. I am so sorry. Oh my goodness. I had to. You can't tell me not to do that. Anyway, with a flick of the wrist, the shuriken that could end everything in the world was thrown down at the Akatsuki. By the time the dust settled, there was nothing but destruction in the surrounding area. Naruto then used wood and earth style to bring back the flowers and beautiful scenery. He put the barrier down and returned to his ramen. By the time Naruto got back, only a minute had passed. So this 12-year-old took down 10 S-rank shinobi, Kage level shinobi, in 1 minute. Yeah. And, for those of you who are like, oh, he donned Kakazu, Itachi, and, what's his name, Toby, who is actually Obito, can't die, they have hacks. Well, Hidan can die if he's vaporized enough. Like, if he's vaporized to completely nothing, he can die. Kakazu can die, because he did, since all his 5 hearts have to be removed. Not at the same time, but they have to be removed in general. Itachi can die, because, yes, the Yada mirror blocks a lot of things. I don't think it blocks a regular Wasen Shuriken, something that whips apart cells. And considering I don't think it'd be able to block a regular Wasen Shuriken, it definitely wouldn't be able to block this Wasen Shuriken. And as for Toby / Obito, not gonna lie, I kind of forgot about him. I realized I remembered Obito had Kamui as I was recording it. So as for Obito, the chakra was the amount of chakra that Naruto was giving off was too big for Toby it was too big for Toby to absorb it. And like I said, the Wasen Shuriken itself is giving people migraines as around it, so it kind of would limit his abilities to use Kamui. But anyway, and from then on, Naruto became famous and was known as the Skull Master. Excuse the name if it's lame, it was the only thing I can come up with. Yeah, he was called the Skull Master, being a triple S rank and free on sight ninja in the Bingo book. Well, that was his name before being known worldwide as the 7th Hokage. And as for Sasuke, since he didn't leave the village, he became known in another way. He became known as Konoha's Fire Dragon, being a double S rank and a free on sight ninja. He was able to get rid of the water and earth weakness. They all end up marrying the same people as canon, but with some differences. Sasuke wasn't a deadbeat since he had no sins to atone for, and Naruto, being smart, left the clone to do all the Hokage work while he did family stuff. Like, dude, you are universally famous for being a master of a jutsu that you can use to clone yourself. Yet you don't use it to spend time with your family? Like, yeah, he sent a clone to Himawari's birthday party, but like, don't do that. Send a clone to the Hokage's office and have your actual... Thankfully in the manga it gets better. Yeah. And one day, Naruto was thinking to himself, looking at the sky. Hinata then came and asked, "Hey Naruto, what are you thinking about?" Naruto replies with, "Oh, nothing much, it's just that." "Just what?" Hinata asked. "It's just, I wonder how it would have ended up if I returned to School of Sealing all those years ago." And with that, it ends. What if Naruto kept the School of Sealing complete? And yeah, I just finished it. Thank you for watching this all the way through if you have, and if you watched any of my previous videos or any of the parts before this, thank you for that as well. Thank you for the increase in views. I was checking recently when I got back on my laptop. I got like 55 views, and my most viewed video has 81 views, and only like a total of 10 views, only a total of 10 views from those two videos off of me. So like 40 and 70 people genuinely liked my content. That really makes me happy. Thank you. I did not expect it to get past, I don't know, 5 views that weren't for me, and yet my most viewed video, it has 81 views. I don't know. Thank you. I really appreciate that. And I never thought I'd be getting subscribers, yet here I am with 5 subscribers. Yes, it says I have 7 subscribers, but 2 of them are for my cousins, so I don't count those since I know who subscribed to me. But yeah, oh my goodness, thank you. And I know a lot of you prefer Rouge Puppet Master over this one. I do too. But I just wanted to finish this one since this was the closest to being complete, and you know, saving the best for last. Wink, wink. Do I have anything else to say? Oh wait, for the exam matchups, if I got anything like wrong with who Naruto and Sasuke would be fighting, My bad. I didn't really like go online to check who they exactly fought, since I didn't feel like doing that. And by the time I was writing this, it was like 11 p.m. last night. So yeah, I was kind of feeling tired. So, and one more thing, I will be uploading a movie of What If Naruto Kept the Skull of Ceiling, depending. But now it depends. Would you guys rather have me upload the movie of What If Naruto Kept the Skull of Ceiling? That's a long title. Would you rather have me upload the movie of Skull of Ceiling first, or upload a new part, possibly the final part of Rouge Puppet Master? There's definitely gonna be a new part. I don't know if it's gonna be the final part. That's what I'm saying. And Rouge Puppet Master at most should be uploaded by next Friday. Yeah, at most at most Rouge Puppet Master should have uploaded by next Friday. Knowing me, I'm probably gonna start writing it tomorrow or the next day after that. If I can, that is. And I believe that's it. Thank you for making it this far in the video if you have. And I hope anyone watching this has a great day. Bye. Noob out.